Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Vivek Sharma, CEO of InStride, to discuss America's Upskilling and Retraining Assistance Act and how InStride is advocating for the act. Vivek, it's great to see you. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill. It's great to be here.
Expenses and access to technology hinders Americans from getting into upskill and retraining educational programs. What type of legislation is being introduced through the Upskilling and Retraining Assistance Act?
Well, Jill, in the COVID-19 pandemic, especially these days, it's even more important for employers to invest in upskilling so that we can come out of the recession. And you would be surprised to hear that the $5,250 of annual tax-free income that can be used on education by employers and employees has not changed since 1986. And it's currently far, far below the cost of most higher education programs. So what we're seeking is an emergency expansion of the amount from $5,250 to $12,000 for the next 2 years, as well as an expansion to cover the cost of education-related tools and technology. In fact, one of the founding partners for InStride, the Arizona State University, and one of the inspirations for this program, the Starbucks organization, have already endorsed it, along with a broad coalition that includes Jobs for the Future, Business Roundtable, and the American Council on Education. So we are very excited and very supportive of this legislation.
Yeah, that really is exciting legislation to be introduced. Tell us why InStride is well positioned to be a flag bearer for America's Upskilling and Retraining Assistance Act. What motivated InStride to join the consortium of public and private sector partners who have backed the act?
Well, Jill, when you think about employee education, you think of the traditional tuition assistance programs, also called as TAP. Our view is that they're not working. You'd be surprised to hear that corporate America spends $28 billion every year on tuition assistance, but there are very few CEOs and CHROs who are happy. First of all, only 1% to 2% of employees take these programs, even though 80% of employees are interested in going to school. And those who take the program find that they have not seen a meaningful boost in their career progression. So InStride's approach is what we call as a strategic enterprise education, which basically focuses on three things. First one, drive business objectives through workforce education. And I believe that doing both simultaneously is very important, which is also important these days in the era of what we call as stakeholder capitalism, right? Number two is we only work with a curated global network of quality universities, especially those universities who have a reputation for driving student outcomes. We believe that it is not about getting enrollment. It's about actually making a difference to your career. That's what matters. And final thing is, we all have incredible social media tools for our social media experience. We also believe that technology can bring a compelling, user-friendly experience that can make both the learner and the corporate journey much more compelling. And as we have done that, we have so far done incredibly well. We today serve about 26,000 learners across 30 corporations, and we have partnerships with some of the leading universities all over the world.
How has COVID-19 impacted InStride operations?
Well, Jill, I would say that if you look at year 2020, 5 years from now, you would say this was the tipping point of workforce online education. Massive, massive shifts are happening on both the supply side and the demand side. On the supply side, most colleges have had to offer virtual education at least part of the time for the last, 2 sessions. There's not a single college that has not had to do this. So there is more acceptance and understanding of this needing to be done. But on the demand side, on the corporation side, as they have moved most of their core work processes online over the last 6 to 12 months, it's hard for them to not do the same with workforce education. And this has been great for us. In fact, just in the last 3 to 4 months, we signed new corporate partners. We signed up AT&T's major retailer, Prime Communication. We signed up Desert Financial, Banfield Pet Hospital. And we also signed up more universities, City University of New York, UW, Wisconsin, and a few other partners like Smart Horizons and Voxy. And I'm very proud to share that as a result of this, we, InStride, have been recognized as one of Fortune magazine's 2020 Impact 20 winners. And this is an award given to companies that have turned the combination of profit and purpose into a foundational principle. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, that's fantastic news, Vivek. Congratulations on that. And I think it's very interesting. The point that you bring up, that 2020 is the time of online education. I've been doing financial media for over 10 years now. I cannot recall a time that I've had education tech in online institutions on my show. I have at least one a week now, and it's really interesting. And I think what's great for students is this can perhaps drive down cost at some point in the future, and the experience is only going to get better. Someone who graduated from an online institution and applying for grad school now for another online program, I certainly appreciate all the work that's put into it. So can you provide additional background on how InStride leverages its academic network?
Well, I'll start by first of all saying, Jill, that we at the outset put a very high bar on our curated academic network. There are three things that need to happen for you to be part of a network on the academic side. One is we want to ensure there's a global footprint of universities because our corporations are global, their employee footprint is global, and 80% of all online education still happens within 100 miles of where we live. So there's a preference for geographical proximity. The second thing that's important for us is we work only with research grade universities, mostly public and nonprofit, who have a broad breadth and depth of online offerings. And finally, this is very important for me, they have to have a reputation for driving student outcomes, especially with adult learners. So through this, our academic partners provide a broad range of programs available for corporate partners and learners to choose from. But the reverse is also true. The programs lead to much deeper partnerships between universities and our corporate partners. But the example I'll give you is through this program, Starbucks has expanded its internship program to offer technology opportunities co-located in both Seattle and Arizona with Arizona State Universities. So Starbucks College Achievement Plan students have opportunities for internships and full-time roles in the Starbucks technology organization. Additionally, Adidas, which is a partner of Arizona State, they partner on the Global Sport Alliance. This is a partnership that explores topics including diversity, race, sustainability, and human potential, all through the lens of sport. So it's really helpful both ways. It helps corporations, but it also helps the US university system.
Where do you envision InStride in 5 years' time, and what's your call to action to future potential partners of InStride?
We look at InStride as the beginning of a movement, which I believe has only been accelerated with the advent of COVID. I believe that visionary CEOs very soon will start to look at education the same way they once saw, they actually now see employee healthcare. And if you go back 80 years, that actually started with the 1942 Stabilization Act, which was originally passed under President Roosevelt. And it required strict wage limits, but exempted insurance benefit from those limits. So what happened was employers, especially visionary employers, started competing to recruit the best employees by beginning to offer health insurance. We believe that a strategic employee education program with a quality academic network that actually addresses the business objectives will be a critical part of offering for all visionary CEOs in the future. My call to action for anybody out there who is trying to drive social impact and business impact together is that we would love to talk to you. We're here to serve, and we want to make sure that we bring the best of US universities to employers, employees, and their communities.
Vivek, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you, Jill.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.